Hey guys, welcome back. Well, let me show you what I'm doing. In fact, you may remember here a couple weeks back I posted a video regarding the cylinders on that 496 disc and off of that one Crumbler that I have. And I think I showed you in that video, but well, let me show you over here on the floor. These here are the cylinders that I took off of the disc. That one right there, that big decal logo on the side of it, that one is not original. These here are all 3.5 inch diameter. That one's a 3 inch. And those cylinders in those buckets, that is for the one Crumbler as well. But that one right there, my neighbor that I bought the disc off of had put that one on, because the original, the ears broke off right there. And that's not very good. In fact, you can see where he tried welding a piece on there, but with that being cast, you can't really do much with it. And so he had that extra cylinder, he threw that on the disc and ran with it. But he told me when I bought the disc and when I used it back last fall for planting wheat, I could see it. He said that the left wing always seemed to have a tendency to always want to kind of be drooping down. And so what I wanted to do is rebuild all the cylinders. And he still had the original cylinder. This here's the housing. And he told me I could have it. And so I picked it up. And I was able to get all my rebuild parts. Those right there, that is the wiper that goes. Press that in right there, and that is where the ram comes out of that wiper. Then you got your clevis or your yoke on this side here. And so he told me that he had went to Case Place to try and get this part. And well, of course, naturally, they didn't have it. It wasn't available. They just wanted to sell him a whole new cylinder. And so I went to a local farm supply store, and the guy did a lot of digging, but he was able to get me a new piece. And so before I put that back on the disc, I want to actually take and paint that. That way we don't get all rusty. But I got to take that plug out of there and put in one of these holes here. Then up here will be the fitting for the hose on the disc. But and so let's just go ahead and get started. Well, I've already got this on the vise, so I'll just go ahead and start picking these here off. This here, you got a regular O-ring and a backup ring. And take this housing. That goes together like that. Taking and get kind of worked on there. Usually you got to take a little bit of oil, run around there and pop it right together. No big deal. Same thing right there. You got a backup ring and an O-ring. And so you always got to make sure you get the rings set right. Right there we got the backup ring is on the bottom and the O-ring is on top. In fact, generally, hydraulic shivs on a combine, if you've ever taken one apart, for the most part, they will have these in them. O-rings and backup rings. You always got to make sure you get them put back on the way you took them off. And also, another thing, if there's actually a whole bunch of rings, and it's actually the same way with wiring, because I've done and it works great. Take a picture of it before you take it apart, and that way you always go off your picture. And these back rings, or these backup rings, are directional. And I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but on that side of that ring, there's a little bit of a dimple for that O-ring to sit in. And so you want to make sure that dimple is facing up, because the O-ring was on top. And so these here, this is the ring that goes inside right here. That's the seal for that. But these big rings, gotta get them straightened out here. Okay, one backup ring and one regular O-ring. And you just gotta make sure that you do not get the old backup ring and O-ring mixed up. Right, there's the two old ones. Put them in the trash. And so, same thing right there. Directional, right there's the dimple. So that goes on first with the dimple facing up. And just like that. Okay, and now we got that in there. Take your little picks and go right around there. Make sure the backup ring is sitting flat. Okay, and take your O-ring, pop him around, get it started, and just walk it right around and roll it right down around the edge. Done deal. Okay, that one's done. And I got this thing here flipped over. I want to take, and now I'm ready to take and put the ram seal in to the end of it. And these here, hopefully you can see halfway decent there on the camera, are also directional. And if you look right there's a little lip stuck out. It's like flared out on the outside edge on that side. And same thing on the inside. There's a little flare. And you want that facing the oil pressure. And so since the oil pressure is going to be on this side, you want to take and put that down that little groove right there, facing with that flared part down. And with it being so cold out, you may actually have to grab a heat gun to make it just a little bit more flexible. I have to even heat up that there a little bit, but yeah, like I say, you probably had to grab a heat gun. And now, although, just be careful, don't heat it up so much that you end up warping it or getting it out of round. And that's going to drop down that groove like so. And yes, it's easier said than done. Okay, now I've got this side here starting, but sometimes you just got to make it wiggle just right to jump in. And that's where these little picks come in handy. Okay, slowly get, like I say, you gotta just keep working it. Kind of all the way around there. Okay, hopefully you can still see. I gotta use one hand to shove down the other fingers to kind of steady it. Okay, that basically done just this one side. There we go, finally. Okay, and kind of taking, I don't know how well you can see that, hold up to the light right there. That's got that seal in. Next is this wiper. And basically all that does, it just catches dirt and that kind of stuff that might be here on the ram. And so you got to get laid across here like so. And I forgot to grab a 2x4. It's actually better to take and lay something over top that. So I think I'm going to go run and grab a little board and lay over top that, and we'll be back with you. All right, I'm back with my 2x4, and let's see. Got a little bit of a high side. Yeah, there we go. Back now, it's basically all the way down in there. You can very carefully just go right around the edge and tap it down like that. Now, one thing that I want to look at here, and I'll just use one of these old cylinders, is to see how far in that wiper is. And right there, we're basically flush, maybe just a little bit countersunk. And so, that's what I want here. Take a little punch, turn it upside down, that way you use the fat end. Kind of tap it just a little bit. Like that. And there we go. It's countersunk just a little bit, but that's just what it was originally. So, that's got it. Alright, I thought I'd go ahead and show you here right quick. This is the new end. And same thing. Put your backup ring on. Make sure that the little bevel is facing up. Goes right around like that. All right, right in there. Next, your regular O-ring, right around, roll him over, and done. Okay, that's got both ends. And before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to take this plug here out of this old end. And go ahead and put this into the a pinch there on that O-ring. That way I am done with this part here. That right there, that can actually go into the iron pile. Just sit it right down over there. Okay. And of course, it's actually set up to where you can have the cylinder on side or up like this. And this way here is how it goes onto the disc. And so I want to put the plug into this side over here. That way the side's plugged off like that. I'm glad that my farm store was able to find a new end like this, because when my neighbor checked out through Case about getting another cylinder. All right, there we go. I think he said they quoted him at like, I think it's between $600 and $800. And that's been here a few years ago, so it's probably about $1,000 now. But, all right, that's got the ends all ready to rumble. All right, I got the ram here put on. And this here is the packing on the end of it. Got a lock nut down here. Got to pop that off like that. And of course, you got to make sure that you get that off and on the same way. This end right here, it's got that little cutout. There's a little O-ring right there. That little cutout is for that O-ring. These here are your packing seals. Now, when that place got me the new O-rings, they got looking, these here are not really a seal. As you can see, that's not going to seal anything. Basically, all these two rings do on the front and back, well, like I said, the seal goes right here in this middle groove. All these here do are basically to like steady the ram inside the barrel. And so they're not doing any kind of sealing. And so those are original. We're going to keep them on there. No, they do not need to be replaced. What does need to be replaced is this. These here are your packing seals. And you got an O-ring that goes right around in that groove, like that. There we are. And this here is your outer seal. Basically what the O-ring does is it keeps this outer seal pushed out against the barrel, or that round housing. They call that a barrel on a cylinder. And that thing goes on kind of tough without breaking it. Wow. I may actually have to take and kind of heat that up a little bit. Actually, better yet, let's go ahead and pop this here off. That way it doesn't have to try and stretch over top that ring there. Let's go one at a time. We go like that. And then we can go ahead and jump it over again. Okay, trying to get that on there is easier said than done, because it goes down that little groove. You gotta get kind of picked up and over and moved on over to the middle. Now, if any of you saw my video that I did here a while back when I rebuilt the cylinders on the clamshell part of the bucket on the backhoe, this seal on that packing, it actually had kind of like a zigzag cut through it that would allow you to kind of pop it over and get it into the middle groove. And it made it a whole lot easier that way. Let's take and put that right there for now. Come to think of it, right there is actually, that's the old one that was on it. And right there is the old ring, the old O-ring that went inside. Let's kind of heat that up just a little bit, and I'll make it just a little bit more flexible. Just gotta watch, you don't want to get too hot and hurt something. However, with it being cold, I don't want to tear it in two. In fact, actually heating it up like that does seem to be helping. Besides burning my own fingers. A little warm on my thumb, I'll admit that. Especially when it's sitting there practically point blank. Alrighty. Kind of got that started. Let's take and heat that up a little bit more. That does really seem to be helping. It makes it a lot more flexible. Yeah, that did make a big difference. Like I say, when I did the backhoe, it had, let's see here, trying to think of how to describe it. It had basically almost kind of like a Z-shaped cut that went up, zigzag back and forth. However, the seal itself was not cut clear through. The way it kind of just went back and forth, but yet it was still attached together. And what it did is it allowed it to open up. That way you get overtop that, and into that middle groove where it belongs. Hey, there we go. Ouch. A little pointy on the end. You know what? Let's get a curved one. That way I can kind of pull on it and keep my thumb back out of the way. Well, it poked a little bit. There we go. Okay, and that's got that packing seal on. Now, just gotta take and put that guide clip on there. Okay, let's take the packing off. And we're going to grab one of these little O-rings. Right there. Poke the old thumb a little bit. Thankfully, it wasn't very hard. All right, now we want to take and get that little O-ring popped up off there. Kind of gets caught in those threads. There we go. And simply just take and roll the new one on. Like that. There we are. Okay, it's bottomed out. And like I say, with that being directional, you want to make sure that little cutout groove is going down for that O-ring. Just like that. We're seated up good on the bottom. And we'll put that, that's a big lock nut up there. And I'm actually going to have to do a little hunting around. I'm not sure what the torque setting is on that. And that's got that, like that. All right, I'm out here at the disc. I found that if you can take and yeah, check something there on my phone. Anyway, but if you can take and hook these, when you get ready to tighten up that packing nut there on the end, if you can take and hook the ram onto the main frame, put the pin through on that end, it's a great way to hold it. And also one thing I failed to mention, and I almost goofed up, before you put the packing on, make sure you put the end of the cylinder itself on, then you tighten the packing down. And so I've already put that part right there on. That's the part I showed you. You put the wiper in, that kind of stuff. And so I'm not sure what torque to put these at. However, I know when I took them off, I could tell they were put down pretty good. And so, let's just see here. I actually just put my torque wrench at, oh boy, let's see. There we go. I put the torque wrench at 200 foot-pounds. And so, that seemed to work pretty good. And you just pull the pin back out like that, done deal. Like I said, it's a great way to hold it. And now, this part here is ready to go inside the barrel and begin to put it back together. Now, one thing I'm going to have to come up with a way to hold that when I get working on the other ones, hopefully tomorrow, because they are actually calling snow here in our area. And I have heard anywhere from 4 inches to 18 inches, so I guess we'll wait and see. But I have to come up with something inside the shed. And I'm back in here on the bench now. Okay, right there's the barrel, and what I want to do is go ahead and get that slid on. However, I want to take a little bit of oil, and if you use regular motor oil on, especially on rubber seals and that kind of stuff, or even a hydraulic oil, I'm assuming, it can actually cause them to begin to swell up. And however, if you use good old veggie oil, it doesn't affect them. So I've had this can of vegetable oil down here ever since I redid that tractor motor back last summer, that 7060. However, it's a little cold. It's more like veggie grease. So it's practically froze. But hey, it'll still do the job. And I actually want to just take and oil that up around there. It'll help it to pop in that barrel housing. Even still, you gotta be careful you don't tear it up. But like I say, when I redid that 7060 motor back last summer, I put that cylinder number 1, I put the new piston, sleeve, and all that kind of good stuff into it. The guy that redid the engine head for me is the one that told me, he said if you use veggie oil on the sleeve, when you go to put the sleeve in, because naturally you got those O-rings there at the bottom of the sleeve that seal it up. That way antifreeze can't get down into the oil. And he's the one that told me about using the veggie oil trick to keep the O-ring from swelling up. Because another neighbor of mine had told me that when you put oil on them to put the sleeve in, don't poke around. Put the oil on, then be ready to drop that sleeve right in. If I would have used regular engine oil or something like that. Now, the trick's going to be to get that thing popped over top that. And I may have to get a screwdriver to kind of help it along. Because you got to be careful you don't tear it up. Kind of keep a little bit of pressure against the back side of it. Hopefully you can see somewhat on the camera. But the way I look at it, the important thing is I can see it. Problem is I can't see the bottom. Okay, it's slowly going. Ooh, right there. If I can get you try and get it started on an angle, and then get it pushed in. Like I said, it's easier said than done. It's literally right on the edge. The bottom feels good. Well, I may have to grab a hammer and tap on the other end. So, we'll see what we can do. Well, let me see here if this will work. I ran and grabbed my ring compressor. I've got that pinched down pretty tight. I don't know if that's going to work or not. I guess we'll find out. Hey, that did it. Hopped right on. Well, tell you what. If you ever have trouble getting that packing seal to go inside the barrel housing, use a ring compressor. Worked pretty good. Now, I just got to get it opened up. And yes, I've already double checked to make sure that it will work. It will open wide enough. Just got to get that little button right there pushed down. That way it'll release the lock and I can open it. Like I say, when I put the backhoe together here a few months back, they're on the loader, it actually, I didn't have any trouble at all. Alrighty, and that's got that. Oh, the old ring compressor came in pretty handy. I actually bought that thing and used it to put the rings on cylinder number 1 on that 7060. But hey, it worked great for this hydraulic cylinder as well. So we're going to do the same thing. Take and put a little bit of veggie oil on that ring right there. That way it'll pop inside this barrel easy enough. Or like I say in this case, veggie grease. You can see it looks like grease. Okay, that's got that. And can't redo the inside of the barrel where it goes down over top of that. And I'm putting the thing back together just like the other 3 over there are. It's got that 3.5 sticker right here at this port. Let's get the old 2x4 back out. Alrighty. It's got it bottomed out. Perfect. Okay, I'm happening to look here on my camera, and sure enough, it's through to, what do we got? Oh, low power mode. And so, I'll bring you back in here before I get ready to put the draw bolts down. And now I'm ready to put the new end here on. And once again, the same thing. Just a little oil to make those O-rings pop in there like you're supposed to. As the oil gets on my finger, it begins to thaw out and goes back to looking like veggie oil again. And before I go and put this thing back on the disc, I'm going to take and paint that end, but I can do that once I get it put back together. Well, it started. Okay, and we're seated in, just like it's supposed to be. And this cylinder here is the type that's got the 4 draw bolts that you put in. Now the cylinder that was on the backhoe, in fact, actually come to think of it, all the cylinders on the backhoe are the type that this top piece right here actually screws into the barrel. The bottom is fixed, you don't do anything with that. You simply take and screw the top piece out of the barrel, and so the inside of the barrel is threaded. You got to take and spin it out, which that can be good and can be bad. Sometimes you might not be able to actually get that apart. Whereas with this here, worst comes to worst, you can actually just even take a torch, clip them in 2, and then take it all apart. So we're going to take and run them right down through there like that. Sometimes this nut will come off the end, sometimes the whole thing will thread out of this bottom piece. This draw bolt here, evidently when it goofed up there on my neighbor and those ears broke. He had already taken the thing apart, but he did not put the nut back on the end of it. So I'm going to have to get a run over to the other shed and grab a 1/2-inch nut that I can throw on that. But that should thread in down there on that end if I can get the dumb thing started. There we go. Maybe. There we go. Okay, that's got that. Run over here. Grab a 1/2-inch wrench, and I can't, okay, that's got it bottomed out. Now that one's screwed in pretty easy by hand. Okay, there's that one. I don't want to go cranking it super tight yet until I grab a 1/2-inch nut and throw on that bottom corner one, because I want to be able to draw it down even. And when I go to tighten them up, I'm gonna do like an X. That way it keeps the pull down even on the thing. And so, but yeah, that's the basics of rebuilding one of these. And in fact, come to think of it, this is actually the first time I've ever actually done one with the draw bolts. And like I said, I did the ones on the backhoe, and the internal workings are basically all identical. But yeah, so that should be having ready to go back on the disc now. So hey, take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.